Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to College Football Time with Avery and Miguel. I am Miguel. It's my partner, Avery. Avery, Utah Baylor. Supposedly, this is their first ever meeting. Interesting.
This is a very interesting matchup because this can also be a preview of Big 12 because the Pac-12 basically is going to be non-existent next year, and Utah is moving to the Big 12, and Baylor is part of this conference. So the fact that these two teams are playing this year, we're probably going to see a preview of how these two teams are going to relate to each other in the future. And after last week against Texas State, Baylor has a lot to prove.
Yes, indeed. I feel that a Baylor team that starts the season 0-1, they're gonna come pissed off in this game. But Cam Rising will start in week 3, not in this game. He is getting close to make his return. In the meantime, I think Bryson Barnes will get the start again. He had a solid performance last Saturday against Florida, going 12 for 18 for 159 yards. So and then Mika Bernard, he led the offense in rushing last week for Utah. So I do think that Utah will win this game, but they should not underestimate Baylor.
I definitely agree with you. Utah's game against Florida may seem a bit lackluster, but Bryson Barnes came out very strong in the beginning. He hit a really early touchdown pass to Money Parks. Money Parks that game had 70 yards. So his numbers may not seem to outshine what you would expect from a Utah QB, but the little things are the ones that are going to make this matchup really exciting. And Utah's defense, I think that can be the real key here because even though Baylor put up over 500 yards in their game against Texas Tech, they allowed 441 total yards, including 298 passing. So Utah's defense, they only allowed 13 rushing yards versus Florida, which you would think is a typo, but it's true. So Utah's defense is going to be the key here. Baylor needs to be mindful of their passing. They need to be mindful of their rushing. So it's going to be a real test for Baylor. I think their edge is that they're playing in Waco. They're playing at home. I think them playing at home could be the boost they need. But again, this is a Utah team that wants to prove that they can be in the playoff picture. They're sitting at 12. They really don't want to have another loss real early and then try to fight for the rest of the season to get into that playoff picture. So a real decisive win at Baylor could do that for Utah. But also Baylor needs to also be mindful to not make careless mistakes. They need to come out and pressure Utah. And that way, even though Bryson Barnes is doing very well, he still seems a bit shaky. So if you shake him up, that could be the key. And Blake Sharpen, 303 yards, 2 touchdown passes, nothing to shake your head at, but it was at a loss. So, but I think Baylor's QB, I think their wide receiver core, especially Drake Dabney, a very good game last week, but there's going to be things that Baylor needs to do to make sure they're not going to be left out in the cold.
This is a tough one for me, as much as I want Utah to win, but I'm gonna predict 26-23 Baylor.
That's a pretty decent score because they're looking at Utah to win by 7. But I agree with you. Baylor has a lot to prove. After their opening game, they need to do it. But I think Utah's gonna just sneak in a win here. I'm gonna give this to Utah 30-28. I think this is gonna be a close game. You know, late touchdown pass, late field goal, that's going to be the idea that that takes Utah over the top on this one.